Okay, so in the today's class we'll discuss about the pin duplexer. Okay, so this pin duplexer can be operated in different modes. Okay, one is transmit mode and one is receive mode, and also it can be acts as a phase shifter. So what are all the phase shift types we can achieve? So the types of phase shifters which will be uh, use this pin, so which is transmission type switched line phase shifter, and reflection type hybrid coupler phase shifter, and transmission type loaded line phase shifter. So that we will discuss what type of the phase shifters, how the phase shift will be achieved. So this pin duplexer, so as you see, so if you see, this is a transmit mode, so there will be a through this coupler the power will be transmitted, and also at the receiver through this coupler only the power will be received. So there are through this coupler the power will be going to transmit and receive. Okay, so now you can see there are two 3 dB hybrid couplers from the transmitter end and at the receiver end. So when you have the transmit mode, so what will happen? So the D1 and D2 will be forward biased. So if D1 and D2 will be forward biased, so this will create a short circuit path here. So what will happen? The power transmitted, which is completely going to the through the antenna. Okay, so there is no power received at the receiver. So due to the little forward bias resistance, so the power somehow some power will be going to the load, and that load will be absorbed by the matched load. Okay, so you can see here, so if you apply the voltage V1, so since it is a 3 dB hybrid coupler, so you will be having a 90-degree phase of this whatever input voltage with respect to this output voltage. So the output voltage is which is having 90-degree phase with respect to the port 2. So if you consider this as port 1, port 2, port 3 and port 4, like that. Okay, so this voltage corresponding voltages with respect to V1, it will be appeared at this hybrid coupler, and due to the D1 and D2 which is forward biased, and it will create a short circuit path, and some of the power which will go to the load and it will absorb, and there is no power will going to receive at the receiver, and most of the power which will be transmitted through the antenna. Okay, so now coming to the receive mode. So in the receive mode what will happen? So you can see here, so since the diode will be get reverse biased. Okay, so in the receive mode the diode D1 and D2 will get reverse biased and it will become open circuit. So when it become open circuit, so the power which is coming from the antenna, so it will completely go to the receiver. Okay, so since it is a open circuit path here, the diode D1 and D2, so the hybrid coupler, which is the voltage which is transmitted by the antenna, which will be completely go to the receiving end. Okay, so through this 3 dB hybrid coupler, so whatever the reflected voltage which is coming, so this will not go to the transmitter since it is having a isolator here. Okay, there is no power which is going to the transmitter. Okay, so in the transmit mode, as I said, so the due to forward bias, diodes acts as a short circuit and most of the power transmitted through the antenna. Okay, and in the receive mode, so since D1 and D2 are reverse biased and as acts as a open circuit, so there is no power which is entering into transmitter, so most of the power from the antenna it will go to the receiver. So now coming to the phase shifter, the pin phase shifter, so it is a electronic phase shifter, so which are designed to using the pin diode are extensively used in the phased arrays. That means, so when you have the many antenna elements in the phased array antennas, so we need to feed the antenna each and individual antennas. So if you can see, okay, so say for example if you have a the patch antenna like this, the array of patch antennas. Okay, so you need to feed this one, each antenna you need to feed, and also you have to excite with the amplitude values and as well as the phase values. So now for these phase values, so you need to use the phase shifters. So you will going to use at each and every antenna, you will going to use phase shifters. So now as you know, so whenever you use these phase shifters, so those phase shifter will change the phase of the antenna at the far field. Okay, so those phase we need to adjust to get the beam particular direction. So that's how the beam will going to be tuned from from broadside whatever you are getting to either in the forward direction or in the backward direction. So particular direction, if you want to tilt the beam of the antenna array, so you have to use the phase shifters, and by adjusting this phase value of each phase shifter you can tilt the beam. So there these phase shifters will be very much useful. So now what are the types of the phase shifters which are designed? So the transmission time switched line phase shifter. So what actually this transmission type? So by the phase shift which will be obtained through this transmission types switched line phase shifter is by perturbation effect. So what you need to perturb, the transmission line you will going to perturb. Perturb means, so you need to change the transmission line length and you need to achieve the phase shifting. So now how we'll going to take that change in the length of the transmission line, that we'll see. So now in order to change that length of the transmission line, we need the switching diodes which are called pin diodes. So these, by using these switching diodes, so biasing these diodes in two different way like forward and reverse bias, then the phase can be changed at the output. So now how we'll going to change the phase at the output, we'll going to see. So now this is a transmission time type switch line phase shifter. So you can see the power input which is given here and the power output which is taken here. So now at this lower part of the circuit, which will be having the transmission line length L0, and the upper portion which is having the transmission line of length L1. Okay, so generally this L1 which is greater than this length L0. So whenever you vary this length, since the phase which is depend upon the length of the transmission line, so that you already know that. So the theta, the phase, how we can calculate, so that is given by beta into L. Okay, so when you change the length of the transmission line, the phase of the whatever the wave which is traveled, which will going to change. So that is a technique which is used here, perturbing the transmission line length. So it is having the length L1 at the upper portion and L0 at the lower portion. Now how to achieve the different phase shift at the output? So whenever you applied the input, so when D1 and D2 will be forward biased and D3 and D4 will be reverse biased. So if you take the consideration of that first case, so these two will be forward biased. So whatever the signal which we apply here, so this will go to the output through this diode. So because this diode, when it is operated in the forward bias, so it will get the conduction path and it will go to the output. So if you take the input voltage which is applied V1 at the input side, so then the output voltage which will be acts as whatever the length of this L0, that will give the phase of the signal, which is phi equal to beta into L0 because of this transmission path. So this will appear V1 equal to e power j phi naught at the output. So now similarly, if you make D1 and D2 reverse bias and D3 and D4 forward bias, so then you will get the different phase which is given by e power j into phi 1. That is, if you applied the input voltage V1 here, so then the output which is appear at the output, which is the phase which is appear at the output along with the amplitude of the signal, which is V1 into e power j phi 1. So now if you take the difference of this, you will get the differential phase. Okay, so that's how we will get the phase of the signal. So now, so these are the two states when we will going to apply the whenever input applied to the phase shifter, we will get the corresponding differential phase. Okay, so now this is a 1-bit phase shifter because only the differential phase, so only one value we can able to achieve. So now if I want to, as I said here, if I want different phase values, say for example at this antenna input, if I want a different phase, okay, and if I want here at some different phase and here at different phases. So now if you apply this type of phase shifter, we can apply only one phase shifter. So now for all other these phase shifters, so we cannot able to apply. So that's why this is called as 1-bit phase shifter. If you use this one, only one antenna we can able to excite. So if I want to excite the 4 antennas simultaneously, so we need to use the cascaded connection of this phase shifter. Okay, so if you arrange this in the cascaded connection of 4, so then you can able to so excite the antennas. Okay, So say for example, this is the first one, okay, second one, third one and fourth one. So now the differential phase which is occur here, so that will be excited with the first antenna, and next cascaded connection, so this cascaded connection we can apply to the second antenna, and similarly so we can apply third and fourth antenna. Okay, so that's how the cascaded connection will give the differential phase outputs at the corresponding the output of the cascaded connection. Okay, so this is how we'll get the phase of the different phase values by using this transmission line switched line phase shifter. Okay, so as I said, the differential phase becomes, so the phase difference between here and here, so that whenever this operates with the length L1 and this operates with the length L0, we'll get phi naught and phi 1. If you take the phase difference, you will get the differential phase. Okay, so this will be a fixed phase. So as I said, this is a 1-bit phase shifter. If I want 4-bit phase shifter or in still more different types of phase, then you can cascade the connection and you will achieve the 4-bit shifter. So now if we cascade the 4 this circuit, so then you will get the phase shift of this much, that is 22.5, 45, 90 and 180 degree at each and every point of the every cascaded connection. Okay, so now we can achieve the different phase shifts. So this we can apply to the antennas and we can, whatever the application requires, we can exit. Okay, so now at the final output of this cascaded connection, say for example, if you cascade all these 4, okay, so if you cascade all these 4 like this, so now at the exactly at the last end of this, so we will get 4 times phi 1 minus phi 0. Okay, so this will give the L1 length which is giving phi 1 and lower part it will give phi 0. So since at the 4 will be 4-bit phase shifter will be cascaded, so at the end you will get the phase of 4 phi 1 minus phi 0, that is equal to, so the final phase shift. Okay, so that will become 4 pi. So now by trapping the different section, so here as I said, so if you trap the different sections, so then you can achieve so the different phase shift. So if I uh, take the output from here, so you will get some different phase, and if I take output here, different phase, like that. So you can take a different phase outputs by trapping at the different cascaded section. So now what are the disadvantages of this phase shifter? So since it is cascaded connection and more number of diodes will be used, so that will increase the insertion loss. So due to non-zero forward resistance of the diode. Okay, so the leakage will happen when it is reverse biased. So and as I said, more number of diodes are used for per phase shifter. Okay, so this is a disadvantage. So now in order to overcome this disadvantage, so some other type of phase shifters are designed, so which are called uh, another one which is called as reflection type hybrid phase shifter. So now what will happen, this reflection type phase shifter, and how the phase shift will be achieved? So the phase shift will be achieved by the variation of this length. Okay, so by varying this length, so when we apply the voltage to the diodes when forward and reverse bias, then this length will be varied due to the forward and reverse bias, then we can apply, then we can get the different phase shift. Okay, so the phase shift is obtained by changing the value of the location, so this is the location, or terminating impedance. So this is actually terminated by short circuit, and if you operate these diodes in different cases, so this exactly this length will be varied and the impedance will be varied. So by that variation we will get the different phase. So here the hybrid coupler or circulator. So here it is shown as the hybrid coupler. So even you can use the circulator also to separate the input and output. So you can see here the input it is given here, and the output, the phase output which is taken out here. Okay. So now coming to the state 1, when D1 and D2 is forward biased, so again it will offer the short circuit at this AA dash point. Okay. So if you offer this short circuit here, so then what will happen, so at shorter length it will produce the phase phi 1. Okay, So when it is reverse biased, so it will become open circuit, the physical length of this will be going to vary. Okay, so that will give the second phase shift, that is phi 2. So now if you take the difference between phi 1 and phi 2, you will get the differential phase, that is delta phi, that will be equal to 2 into beta into L, because the wave which is traveled from here and it will reflect back to the output, so which will travel 2 times the L. So that's why you will get the phase shift of 2 beta L. Okay, so now by changing the length, that is L, as I said, so or by terminating impedance at this point, so the phase shift can be changed. So this is what reflection type. Whenever the signal applied here, it will go and it will, after this hybrid coupler, so you will get power here and power here. Now whenever it is reflected back, so due to this length, by the effect of forward or reverse bias effect, so this will length will going to change and it will travel to the output and the phase shift will be obtained. So by changing this length, we can able to obtain the different phases. Okay, so this is what the reflection type, so hybrid phase shifter. So here there is no more number of diodes, so we can, by just changing the length of this line, so we can able to achieve the phase shift. So another type is transmission type loaded line phase shifter. So here you can see the lambda by 8 section of the transmission line, it is loaded, and the diode D1 and D2 which are connected to this, that lambda by 8 section transmission line. So now there is a P1 and P2, the port, input port and output port. So whenever you applied the power at this input port, so due to the action of this diode in reverse and forward bias, so then you will get the different type of phase shift. So this is very simplest model, because we can vary the length of the transmission line to achieve the different phase effect. So now what happens when D1 and D2 is forward biased? So when D1 and D2 is forward biased, so it will get short circuited. So at this diode location, so then it will become the input reactance, which if you see at this input side, okay, so the reactance becomes so inductive. So due to this, the wave which is traveled through this transmission line to the output, so this will get short circuited. So whenever you get short circuited, so this will act as a short circuit stub, and if you measure the impedance, it will become the input inductance. So the input reactance, which will become inductive, so that will become j omega L. Okay, so that will be calculated through this lambda by 8, the section of the transmission line. So now this, so if it is operated in this forward bias state, so then you will get the phase value phi naught. Okay, if whenever you apply the input voltage V at this input, this one, so whenever you apply the voltage V1 at this input, so due to this transmission line section, so you will get the phase of, so phi naught. So that will be calculated, and the inductance will be calculated by using this equation. So now this is a phase when it is a forward biased, and similarly whenever it is reverse biased, so you will get the capacitive effect. So since it is open circuited stub, and it will become the capacitive effect, the input reactance can be calculated by using this equation. Okay, so because it is becomes capacitive, so this will be so calculated by this equation. So now if this becomes capacitive, it will produce a different phase, which is called as phi 1. So whenever you applied the input voltage V1 at the input, the output becomes V1 into e power j phi 1. So now if you take the difference of that, you will get the phase change, which is equal to phi 1 minus phi. So now this phase, how you can maximize? So if you inductive reactance, if you equal to the capacitive reactance, if you equate those two reactances, so then you will get the phase which will be maximized. So on this lambda by 4 between the diodes, so whatever the lambda by 4 section it is there, so this lambda by 4 section, so this will helps to, so this will helps to provide lambda by 2 path for the incident and reflected waves. How it will provide? So you can see here, so this will be lambda by 8 and this will be lambda by 8. So if you, the wave which is traveled here and here, it will experiences lambda by 4 plus these 2 lambda by 8, so which will be effectively becomes lambda by 2. So that path it will going to provide, so for the incident and reflected waves to cancel at the input side. That means, So whenever you apply the input, it will travel. So it will travel to the output along with this the path. So whenever it will travel through this path, incident wave appears as lambda by 4 and reflected wave which is appear as lambda by 4. So now if you calculate that phase, so lambda by 4 plus lambda by 4, so the reflected wave experiences the phase of lambda by 2. So then it will be so cancel each other at the input side. Okay, so this is about the how the phase can be achieved by using the transmission type loaded line phase shifter. Okay, so now coming to the pin attenuator. So this is the pin diode can be used as the attenuator. So this how it will be acts as attenuator. So even two configuration can be used, the pin configuration to attenuate the signal. So when it is connected through the series connection and when it is connected through the shunt connection. So whenever you applied the input voltage and RF signal here, so if it is forward biased, what will happen? So it will act as a short circuit, and it will act as a rectifying circuit for the frequency, that is low frequency. Okay, so since there is a forward resistance, so it will act as a variable attenuator. Okay, so in the forward bias, what will happen? It will at the lower frequency, it will act as a rectifying circuit, and it will act as a variable resistor when the frequency becomes high. Okay, so whenever in the series configuration, the attenuation will be decreases due to increase in the bias current. Okay, so that it will in turn decreases the RF resistance. So when it is shunt configuration, so attenuation will increase because the most of the power will be absorbed by the diode. Okay, so this is about the attenuation when it is accessed the pin diode which is accessed series and shunt circuit, how the attenuation will happen. Okay, so this is about the pin attenuator. So now coming to the special type of diode which is called as transfer electron diode devices, which is called as gun diode. So now this is also used as a oscillator. So in many of the applications, due to its special property of negative resistance. So now this how the negative resistance which will going to produce the oscillations, so that we'll see. So as I said, so gun diodes are negative resistance devices, so which are normally used as a low power oscillator. The power output from this oscillator is few watts only. So because of that, so it will be used in the transmitter side of the any communication system like radar system or satellite systems. So it will be acts as a low power oscillator, and it will acts as a local oscillator. So as I said, so it will be in the transmitter side, so it will act as a low power oscillator, and also in the receiver side it will act as a local oscillator. So generally this local oscillator, it will convert the the input RF high frequency RF signal to the the intermediate signal. So there it will be used as a oscillator. So now the Gunn scientist J.B. Gunn discovered this micro oscillation, so that's why it is called as Gunn diode. So he used the different semiconductor materials to construct this the Gunn diode. So what are all the semiconductor materials? Gallium arsenide, indium phosphide, and cadmium telluride. So these are all the some of the semiconductor materials which can be used to construct this the Gunn diode. So why these semiconductors are selected? Because these have closely spaced energy valleys. You can see here. So there is valence band, so the band gap and conduction band. So these are all the energy valleys gamma, L, and X. So for these semiconductors, so these are very closely spaced. So because of that, so we can able to achieve the negative resistance effect easily. So that's why these semiconductors are used. Okay. So this is the energy band gap diagram of the the different semiconductor which is shown for gallium arsenide here. Okay, so now whenever DC is applied across the material, so electric field obviously it will apply, so it will establish the electric field whenever voltage is applied. So whenever it apply the voltage, so there is a low E field and it produces the energy. So see here, so whenever you apply the voltage, so it will produces the electric field. So whenever at the lower values of the voltage, it will produce the low electric field, and most of the electrons will be located in the lower energy value. That means in the this gamma region. So most of the electrons are in this region whenever you operate in the lower voltages. Okay. So whenever you go to the higher electric field, so the electrons will get transferred because of the high energy. It will get transferred to the L and X values. So this is the L and X values. So whenever you applied more voltages, so the electrons will get energy and it will transfer to the high energy values. Okay. So whenever it transfers the high energy, so the electron mass is larger and hence the electron mobility. So because the energy is higher and it will become, the mass will become larger, so it will get the motion of the electron or mobility, it will get going to reduce, and that will be low in the, so the energy in the gamma value. So now the conductivity, so it will directly proportional to the mobility. So whenever the conductivity increases, the, so directly the mobility increases. So that's why, so whenever mobility decreases, definitely the conductivity also decreases. So hence what will happen in the L and X values, so at particular value of the voltage which is applied, so which we'll call it as threshold voltage. At this threshold voltage, the energy will be maximum and the mobility will be minimum. So where it will happen, the maximum energy will be there, and so whenever still you increase beyond the threshold voltage, the input voltage, so then the current will going to decrease, so it will become so low and low as you increase the voltage. Okay. So this is the effect which will be called as transferred electron effect, because the energy which will be so transferred maximally at this threshold voltage, and whenever still increase the voltage, so the current will going to decrease due to the energy which will be uh, transferred. Okay. So because of that transferred electron effect, so the current will going to decrease. So that's why this will be called it as transferred electron device or Gunn diode. Okay. So now in order to get oscillations, so we need to operate the device or diode in this region. So wherever the current decreases as the voltage increases, so this region which will be called it as the negative resistance region. Okay. So this region, so wherever it is having the current which is going to decrease, so from here to here, so this will be called it as negative resistance region. So now we need to operate the diode in this region to get the better oscillations. So the material behaves as a negative resistance device in this region and also used as a microwave oscillator. So now how we can this the Gunn diode is formed. So here you can see the construction. There is two N plus substrate. So within this within that the semiconductor substrate. So there is an active layer in between these two, the N plus layer, and metal it is formed above this N plus layer and below this N plus layer. So now this is the equivalent circuit. So there is no junction for this, but still it is called as a diode because we apply the voltage between positive and negative end. So that's why the DC voltage which we applied between positive and negative end, so that will be called as anode and cathode. So that's why it is called as diode, even though it is don't have any junction. So as I said initially, the current will increase and the voltage will going to increase up to certain value where the energy of the electron will be get maximized. So whenever it get maximized and reaches the threshold voltage, so whenever still increase the voltage, the E field produced across the active region, so that will excited from lower value to higher value, and it will get the higher energy and becomes immobile. So the mobility will going to decrease. So now the rate at which electrons are transferred is very high, the current will decrease with increase in the voltage. So as you go on increasing beyond the threshold voltage, the current will going to decrease. So it will give the resulting equivalent negative resistance. So since it is the gallium arsenide is very poor conductor, so there will be heat generation will be there. So that's why we need to bond that so diode to a heat sink to in order to dissipate that whatever the heat is generated. So this is the equivalent circuit of this the Gunn diode. So this Cj and Rj, the negative resistance and the capacitance of the diode, and this whatever Rs it is there. So this resistance include lead resistance and bulk resistance, and also ohmic losses it will include, and this Cp and Lp are the package capacitance and inductances. Okay, so this is about the equivalent circuit. So now, what are all the modes of operation which is there in this gun diode? So basically there are two principal mode of operation to produce the microwave oscillations. So one is gun diode mode, so or transit time mode, and second one is limited space charge mode, and two other special modes are so there, quenched domain mode and delayed mode. So we'll discuss these later. So what are all the first main modes we'll going to discuss. So now what is gun mode or the transit time mode? So whenever we applied the voltage between this N plus and this anode and cathode, so whenever we applied the voltage across this N plus regions, so this whenever it exceeds the threshold level, so as I said, electrons will be transferred from low energy valley to the high energy valley. So high mobility conduction band to the higher energy, and lower or nearly zero mobility in the subconduction band. So since this is a conduction band, so where it is there are subconduction band and high conduction band. So the energy in the gamma it will be very low, and the energy in L and X ray will be comparatively high compared to the gamma. So whenever the energy it is, whenever the electrons gets energy, it will transfer to here the more energy band, and the mobility will going to decrease. So whenever the mobility, so it will going to decrease. So these electrons, because at the X energy higher energy value, so the electrons mobility will be very less. So that's why all the electrons collected at that point and bunched together. So that will create a electric field dipole domain, so near the cathode. So at cathode, so this bunching takes place, and this electron field dipole domain, so it will get the more energy. So this electron field remains below the threshold level across rest of the crystal, prevents the formation of the further domain. Even if you go on increasing the voltage, so further the formation will not takes place. So that will be remain as it is at the crystal. So when this high field domain travel to the end contact, the current returns to its higher level, and a high field domain is again formed. Okay. So here you can, so till the values of some voltage values, the high domain formation or the electrons energy formation at the higher X value energy, it will be high, and once it is go beyond the some other voltage here, still if you go on increase, that formation will going to debunch, or it will going to so decrease, and again the another formation or another oscillation will going to increase. So that is what, so again the high field domain it will be formed beyond some certain voltage. Okay, so how the movement of the high field which will be moved from cathode to anode, you can see here, as the voltage you applied here, so as you go on increasing the voltage, so the energy which will be, so this will going to transfer from anode to the cathode. Okay, so this current fluctuation at microwave frequency produce the output signal which is having low impedance RF circuit with period equal to transit time. So the period of the output signal RF signal which is equal to one period of the transit time. So whenever it happens, the high field is quenched, that means so it will be formed the bunching before it reaches the anode domain. So whenever it will be quenched, the transit time is decreased and the frequency will going to increase. So now the oscillations will produce before it will going to quenched. So this mode of oscillation so has a low efficiency and power generation, and frequency, because of this frequency cannot be controlled. Okay, so this is the pulse current, how it will going to move from the anode to cathode, and it will, before it reaches the anode, so it will be the quenched before it will reaches the anode. Okay, so this is about the frequency, how the oscillations will produce, and it the frequency cannot control due to the pulse current which is produced and by the external circuit. Okay, so this is about the gun mode. And coming to the limited space charge mode, so this is another mode where we can produce the oscillations with the efficiency of 20% and the power output. So the power output will going to decrease with the frequency. So say for example 1 watt, it can be produced at 10 gigahertz and several milliwatts at 100 gigahertz. Okay, so if you go on increasing the frequency in this mode, the power output will going to decrease. So you can see this is RF power output where we are operating in the only negative resistance region, the RF output cycle which is shown here. So now for this mode, so diode works as a part of the resonance circuit. See, this LC is the resonance circuit of the diode and the load resistance RL. So now this diode which is acts as the part of this resonance circuit. So now the resonance circuit is tuned to frequency several times greater than the transit time. So whenever you tune this frequency the several times greater than the transit time, the frequency we can able to tune. And also this the field domain or dipole domain, so which will be having do not sufficient to form the uh, the field domain or the energy bunching at the higher value, and circuit operates in the negative resistance, so that it will become the oscillations will be produced. So now when DC voltage is greater than the threshold voltage, so here you can see the DC voltage which is greater than this threshold voltage, so and operates at the midpoint of the negative resistance region. So this RL is adjusted so above the 20%, so greater than the maximum negative resistance, so the device enable oscillation. So you can see here, so when this RL is operated 20% greater, so in the negative resistance mid of this region, the oscillations will going to produce. So whenever the the average negative resistance of the gun diode becomes equal to load resistance, then the steady oscillations will be produced. So whenever it will be equal, so then the steady oscillations will going to produce at the gun diode output. Okay, so now other two domains are quenched domain mode and delayed mode. So what is this quenched domain mode? If the resonant circuit whatever we see which will be tuned slightly above the transit time mode, okay, so then the dipole domain, whichever the energy which is formed at the higher value, so that will be quenched before the it arrives the anode. So then the oscillations will be so produced in the negative swing. Okay, so in the negative swing, so that's why it is called as quenched domain mode. So this will be so taken out before it reaches the anode, so the oscillations will produce before it arrives the anode. So that's why it is called as quenched time domain. So now delayed mode, so if slightly the resonator is tuned the below the gun diode mode, so then dipole domain will arrive at the anode well in time, and the formation we need to wait to produce oscillation till the new dipole domain occurs, and since that occurs the oscillations will be delayed, so that's why it is called as delayed mode. Okay, so the oscillations voltage increases above the threshold value, so then the delay will occur due to uh, the tuned resonator will be greater than the transit time mode, so that's why it will be so delayed. So the energy bunching or energy value, the transfer of energy at the higher value, it will be get delayed to get the oscillations till the field domain formed in the next uh, next that energy value when increases the threshold, the voltage increases beyond the threshold voltage, so that is called as delay. Okay, so this is about the mode of operations of the gun diode. So now this is one which will be very much used in the laboratory and also to generate low power oscillations. Okay, so this is called as gun diode oscillator. So here you can see the gun diode which is there, which is put inside the waveguide. Okay, on the metal post which is having less than the length of the lambda by 4, and DC is applied through the BNC connector, and there is a copper spring and choke filters which will be filter out the undesired harmonics, and there is a tuning screw to adjust the length of this the tuning effect. So now this produces the oscillations. How it will be produces the oscillations we'll going to see. So this gun diode oscillator generally used in radars as a local oscillator and also signal source in the laboratories as like klystron, which will be used in the laboratory. This also can be used in the laboratory to generate the microwave signal. So the gun diode which is mounted on the metal post here inside the waveguide cavity, formed by the short circuit termination here at this end. Okay, so the short circuit termination at one end and the iris at the other end. So now this iris will be helped to connect the external waveguide to this gun diode oscillator. Okay, so this will be helpful in connecting the external waveguide. So now diode is mounted on center of the waveguide, so perpendicular to the broad wall operation. So you can see the like whenever you operate the waveguide in the TE10 mode, okay, you will get the maximum fields at the exactly center of this waveguide. Okay, so the field variation will be like this. Okay, so you will get at the center of this the waveguide, you will get the maximum the field variation, so due to the fundamental mode of the waveguide. So that's why this, in order to get the energy maximally, so this will be operated at exactly center of the waveguide, which is broad wall, so which is perpendicular to the broad wall where E field is maximum. Okay, so now the frequency f naught of oscillation depends on the electron's drift velocity Vd. So due to high field domain through the effective length L. So this, so the length which is whenever you move this sliding short circuit plunger, so the different the mode of oscillations will going to produce. So because of this length variation, so whenever you move this the screw, so which is moved here, so because of the length variation we can able to get the different frequency of oscillation or different modes field domain we can able to get. So this sliding short circuit plunger you can able to use to tune the frequency of oscillation. So the screw is inserted perpendicular to the broadside wall. So you can see, so this is perpendicular to the this broadside wall of the waveguide. Okay, so now the total resistive loading of the cavity and the external load should be 20% higher than the gun device resistance RJ, so that the circuit resistance will be negative. So this you have to maintain to in order to get the negative resistance effect. Okay, so the cavity has an impedance transforming property from high to low which is required for gun diode. So the gun diode is placed on the metal post and the post diameter is 5 mm and at 10 gigahertz and height is less than lambda by 4. So this whatever the gun diode is placed on the metal post, which is the length which is having less than lambda by 4 and also the diameter is 5 mm at approximately at 10 gigahertz. Okay, so this is about the construction. So whenever you DC voltage apply, so DC bias voltage is applied through the BNC fitting, so the degree of coupling to the external waveguide is adjusted to the inductive iris dimension. So this, so whenever you this iris inductive effect which will be given to the external waveguide, so whenever this short circuit plunger which will be operated based on the length, so this will uh, adjust the frequency of oscillations and the cavity resistance you need to adjust with the external load to get the negative resistance region. So once you get the negative resistance region, the oscillations will be produced in that particular region. Okay, so now how the power output. So there are two modes here again for the gun oscillator. When it is operates in the continuous wave mode, it will give few watts of power which is having the biasing voltage of 10 volts and 1 ampere, so at 30 to 40 gigahertz. And when you operate in the pulsed operation, so the wave which is pulsed and you give the input, and the peak power which will be generated around 10 to, that is 100 to 200 watt. Okay, so now frequency tuning range is 2%, so you can see the frequency tuning range. And the advantage of this gun diode oscillator is it is very low cost, small size, and even you can use hardly. So that's why it is mostly used in the maximum time in the laboratory. Okay, so now the power output is limited due to heating dissipation. So that actually heating sink you can able to put for the so diode in the form of a chip, or so you can mount. Okay, heat sink. So that heat dissipation we can able to reduce it. Okay, so this is about the gun diode oscillator. So now this is one of the problem. So how to calculate the frequency of the gun diode? So you can take this. So use these equations and you can calculate. So the drift velocity and length, you can calculate the frequency. So the drift velocity it is given. So through the cavity region of length, calculate the natural frequency of the diode and the critical voltage. So now the critical voltage you can calculate by using Vc equal to length of this. So whatever the active region, the length, and the critical field of the uh, the critical field of the gallium arsenide. So both if you multiply, you will get the critical voltage of this the diode. Okay, and the drift whatever the natural frequency you can calculate by using drift velocity by length of the so active region. So this is what we need to calculate by using this so data. So this is about the gun diode oscillator. Okay, so we'll stop here and we'll continue in the next class. So any doubt in this?